Last year I tweeted out to Saints Row 1's lead writer Steve Jaros to get a solid answer as to who has originally planned to set the bomb at the end of the first game. Though Jaros didn't provide an exact answer, he did however drop a bombshell of never before seen story pitches for Saints Row 2 and even Saints Row 3. After reading them, I must say, the Saints Row series would look entirely different today if these concepts were materialized. So, I thought we'd dive into these story pitches and see how drastic the franchise could have been. Keep in mind that these pitches were more or less early ideas Jaros had, and they didn't go far beyond being discussed with a few Volition producers. With that said, Saints Row 2's original pitch was going to be a prequel taking place in the 70s. It would have followed Julius Little and Ben King as they formed the Vice Kings in Sunnyvale to combat the rising Los Carnales. Jaros didn't give much more details after that, but I think it's safe to say the game would have dived into Julius and Ben King's relationship and likely introduced King's sister, Angela. We know through dialogue in Saints Row 1 and 4 that Julius dated her for a short period before her untimely death before the events of the first game.
I don't regret much. You make your choices, you live with them. But if I could take anything back, it would be the way things ended up with Angela. It was all fun and games for her. She wanted to be just like Benjamin. I shouldn't have let her get in so deep.
I'm sure this would have been the breaking point for Julius that caused him to leave the VKs before forming the Saints. We may have even seen how Johnny, Aisha, Dex, and Troy joined the Saints and delve somewhat into their backstory. Jaros' tweet doesn't mention who the protagonist would have been, but sticking with Saints Row's distinct formula, you would have likely played a nameless street thug who would either die or drop their flags near the end of the story. One thing we do know is that the end of the game would have cut the present day, revealing the player survived Merricu's yacht explosion and was ready to get some revenge. Though I quite love this idea, I could see certain flaws in the concept. For one, the Carnales would have been the only other gang in the city during this time that only leaves random lieutenants to kill and possibly Alejandro Lopez, the game's main antagonist. Oh, in case you didn't know, Alejandro's the original founder of the Carnales and the father of Angelo and Hector. Though it doesn't make too much sense since Alejandro is an only child and the Los Carnales means the brothers in Spanish, but oh well. I'm sure if Jaros expanded on this concept, he would have likely retconned in new gangs to keep the story varied, and the Carnales arc would have likely ended with the death of Angelo. Now moving on to Saints Row 3's original concept, it would have continued off from Saints Row 2's first pitch with the player wanting revenge and going to Japan. Jaros revealed in a response to his first tweet that the Westside Rollers' overseas buyer was actually the Ronin leader Akuji, and he would have been responsible for the yacht explosion.
There are a few loose ends though, like who the fuck those buyers are Sharp was talking about. I got a feeling some shit going on we don't know about.
Sadly, there isn't much more information beyond that, but the concept is certainly interesting. If I had to guess, Akuji would likely function similar to Dane Vogel, where he'd make small appearances throughout the game until becoming the main antagonist at the climax. As for the Japanese setting, there could have been a lot of potential for the game's environment. Activities like Professor Genki's reality climax would be right at home in the new city, and there could have been even more Japanese-themed diversions. The possibilities this concept offers sure leaves a lot of room for imagination. And there you have the original pitches for Saints Row 2 and Saints Row 3. Though these concepts were quite early on and likely needed a lot more polishing, it's interesting to think the direction the series could have gone in if they were implemented. It's also funny to think that the prequel pitch has actually been a fan-requested concept since 2013. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If any of these ideas were something you would have liked to see come to life, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Like always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.